Solve Jewish-Muslim conflict, get over fake cults/religions, live as one human race. Introduction. We're all born as individuals with pure souls/true natures given by God at birth, but most of the time, somebody comes in and tries to brainwash the crap out of us so that we become a part of some stupid cult/religion/country/culture. They made me a patriotic kid who loved my country, but when I grew up, I realized I was lied to and brainwashed all my life, so I decided to live as a free thinker, bowing down to nothing but my pure self. As a logical man, I respect everybody because we're all part of the human race. I don't buy into anyone's BS. John Lennon sang a song called Imagine about the human race living as is, right now, without putting each other into categories and judging. He sang Imagine all the people living for today. Sumer existed before Judea, Israel, and Palestine. The Middle East was once called the birthplace of human civilization. The first civilization ever was Sumer, the Sumerian dynasty. This is where the Garden of Eden was. The Sumerians had an alphabet called cuneiform. They wrote on clay tablets, then put them in ovens to harden them. This was around 3000 BC. When the British took control of the Middle East in the 1850s, they had adventurers looking for treasure and archaeologists looking for artifacts. They found a bunch of these 5,000-year-old tablets in the desert, still preserved. Somewhere along the way, the British Museum gathered approximately 130,000 of them. If you type the term online cuneiform library into a search engine, you will get websites like cli.earth, Cuneiform Digital Library Initiative, AICuneiform.com, AI Cuneiform Corpus, the world's largest online corpus of translated cuneiform texts. You can go on YouTube and listen to the oldest story in human history called the Epic of Gilgamesh from these cuneiform tablets, some parts of which sound similar to the Book of Genesis, which was created 1,000 years later, particularly the part about God putting Adam into a deep sleep then taking a piece of his rib to create a woman. This is genetic engineering talked about 3,000 years ago. Zecharia Sitchin claimed to have deciphered some of these tablets in the 1970s to publish a book called The 12th Planet, where he talked about how the Anunnaki, a race of space beings from the planet Nibiru in our solar system, genetically created the human race because they needed workers to mine gold for them. Sitchin died in 2010 but lives on through his website sitchin.com and many YouTube videos. I listened to him as far back as 1986 on the Bill Jennings Open Mind radio show. All this predates Judaism and Islam, which are artificial entities imposed on the land. I want people to go back to their natural selves. Get over all the brainwash to live as one human race with no divisiveness caused by stupid myths and stories people make up to control others, which is where the human race is right now, a bunch of massively brainwashed people buying into one stupid idea or another. We have to become enlightened individuals who get past tribalism. My idea is to get the United Nations and some world leaders to go to this land in the Middle East and tell the people there we are going to rename this land something like Sumer or Eden after the Garden of Eden. They create a constitution with two major tenets. 1. Everybody is equal regardless of creed or color. 2. The government is a secular democracy with a separation of church and state. There cannot be any references to any religious customs in government business. The citizens will have to give up the existing Israeli and Palestinian flags for a new neutral one. Create a new national anthem to get the people to unite with the new country, even though it's a grand falloon, but it's a grand falloon based on mutual respect, not one based on some stupid ancient religion that says we're better than you, we're the chosen people. All religious stuff will be purged from the public domain and the public square. People will have the freedom to practice any religion they want behind closed doors, away from people who don't want to deal with it. That's all you have to do to create peace. Say there's no more talk of religion in public. Do it on your own private property. People have the right to their ethnic cultures, but the truth is that ethnic cultures are all fake. Somewhere along the way, we all came from the same genetic seed. Tell the people to take on the culture of the new nation, which is the universal brotherhood and sisterhood of humanity. Tell them modern enlightened humans deal with each other in a respectful, logical way. The country can have several official languages, but the laws have to derive from secular democratically elected leaders and politicians without any references to any religion or ethnic culture so as not to favor any group. They create a military force for the new country. They have to dismantle the propaganda forces for both sides. Life should go on for the good of everybody together in a new modern secular state based on people thinking for themselves away from ancient religions. That's it. It's very simple. Israel and Palestine have to die to be replaced by a new modern secular country based on respect where everybody is equal to each other. People are so full of hate and stupid ideas where they think they belong to their special groups, grand falloons, that we can't get them to do this move, but it's the only solution. Get over these ridiculous ancient false religions that keep you a bunch of hating brainwashed idiots. Get the United Nations military force in there right away to keep the peace. The collective nature of people is to want to feel like they belong to something. When Moses went up Mount Sinai to talk to God for a while, Aaron and a band of rebels starting worshipping a golden calf. God punished them. People are naturally curious. They make up new ideas which the holy books call false gods or false idols. They explore other ideas. God got so mad at his chosen people, the Jews, for constantly worshipping false idols that he scattered 10 tribes all over the earth. When South Africa ended apartheid, they united through their efforts at the Soccer World Cup with a multi-ethnic team. Turn your weapons into plowshares, Isaiah 2:4. A peaceful Middle East will help the world thrive because suddenly there will be a spirit of peace throughout humanity at large. There will never be peace as long as Jews want their own piece of land in the Middle East. That's apartheid thinking. There is one human race. Everything else is someone's stupid ideas. The Palestinians were bullied off that land about a century ago. Now you got the bullies who invaded the land, European Jews, not Semitic Jews, living alongside the people they took it from. The only solution is a reset. Tell them you're the new nation of Eden which recognizes every individual with equal respect. Throw away your old tired ideas to respect everybody. Take religion out of the public realm to become a great nation. We're not throwing freedom of religion away. People can worship whatever they want in private. An enlightened world is one where we treat everybody with respect and don't have elitist groups who think they're better than everyone else. The Travis Walton UFO experience taught me that there is a unified race of beings out there. Travis Walton was abducted by extraterrestrials on November 5, 1975. He was in a truck with 6 forest workers near Snowflake, Arizona. They turned a corner and saw a flying saucer. Travis, a naive, curious 23-year-old, jumped out of the truck to get a closer look. Some field around the saucer knocked him back, so he went unconscious. The ETS didn't fire a weapon. He inadvertently walked into some energy field. His friends were scared. They took off in the truck to leave the unconscious Travis laying there. The extraterrestrials loaded him into the saucer. Travis woke up at some point to see several small gray-like ETS probing his face and body. He got up quickly, grabbed a rod off a table and gestured aggressively, whereupon these small ETS left the room. Travis followed behind, went the other way into some navigation room with a 3-dimensional map of the stars. After a few minutes, a young healthy-looking human guy approached him wearing a space helmet. Travis did all the talking. The guy didn't talk back. He nudged Travis, whereupon Travis followed him out of this small flying saucer into a big area that looked like a mothership with several other small spaceships there. They went through a door, down a hall and entered a room that had 2 young-looking healthy human males and a young healthy-looking human female without helmets on. These beings grabbed him real quick, put a mask on his face, whereupon he went unconscious until he woke up back in Arizona after 5 days. This is a true story. My point is that there is a community of beings in the universe somewhere who are all connected to each other in a mutual profound way. They communicate telepathically. They're all part of some unified group of beings that they're for each other, kind of like the Borg from Star Trek. They're all on the same team, working together for the greater good of their society. We, the human race, have to move into some kind of new direction where we are not constantly fighting each other. The problem with a one-world government is that people are afraid of that government being evil. We need some kind of universal love and democracy. Free-thinking individuals versus the world mafia propaganda machine. Human beings are nowhere near being a community who love and help each other. The first thing they taught me in Catholic school was Eve getting seduced by the serpent, then tempting Adam to eat the apple of forbidden knowledge, after which Cain kills Abel. Then we move into the gay guys in Sodom and Gomorrah who want to have sex with the handsome angels, and it goes from there. They told me that we're all evil by nature and can only be saved by the grace of God. For me, it was a basic rule to live by. We're all naturally evil. Keep it in check by focusing on being good and godlike. The first of Dante Alighieri's 7 deadly sins in the chapter called the Inferno in his Divine Comedy is pride, aka arrogance, vanity, ego, haughtiness, conceit, and self-importance. In Purgatorio 11, Dante describes 3 types of pride. Pride of family. Pride of art and achievement. Pride of power. I was taught to live as a humble man. Use your abilities and gifts to glorify your God, which means to be positive and productive. We live in fake democracies. They're really oligarchies, ruled by a wealthy few, but I'm not here to talk about that right now. Why do we create these stupid groups for ourselves that we identify with to the point of absurdity? It's old-fashioned ego, aka pride, the old I'm better than you thing. Every person is an individual. You go through life alone in your head. It's your unique journey. Why can't people understand this and strive to live good, decent lives as individuals rather than being part of elitist, bullying, egotistical, stupid and evil groups? I gave up patriotism after 4 years at Canada's military colleges, 3 years at College Militaire Royal de Saint-Jean and a year at Royal Military College in Kingston. They're similar to America's U.S. Military Academy at West Point and Sandhurst in England. They tried to brainwash me. It had the opposite effect. I saw the corruption and ego there, which destroyed my idea of patriotism to a corrupt country. To me, virtually countries and institutions are ruled by a few people at the top, even if they claim to be democratic, and almost everybody is corrupt, which means they will compromise their souls or morality for money, sex, etc. It's the nature of humanity. My life is like the character Stephen Dedalus in the James Joyce novel Portrait of the Artist as a young man. I gave up everything I was ever brainwashed to live as freethinker, loyal to nothing but my soul or true nature given by God at birth. That's the way an enlightened human race would live, but people can't seem to get over attaching ourselves to the stupidest groups you can think of, some of which were created by primitives over 1,000 years ago. I read about the animal sacrifices in the book of Exodus in the Torah, which continues on in the 6th book of the Old Testament, the book of Joshua, where God summons Moses up Mount Sinai and commands him to build a tent where he has to liberally sprinkle animal blood on the 4 corners. There is so much talk about animal sacrifice in the Old Testament that I, as a kid in Catholic school, started to realize there is something wrong with this book. You don't kill innocent animals to appease some god. That's evil, not good. That's why Judaism fails right there. If some fake god wants you to kill innocent animals as an offering to him or it, that's really stupid. If you're the creator of everything, why would you kill some of your own creation in order to be honored? When the Old Testament or Torah moves into the New Testament, there is a new covenant based on love of God and loving your fellow man. But the Old Testament, which is made up of 39 books, the first 5 of which are the Jewish Torah, has something wrong with it from a moral point of view. The term Grand Falloon refers to fake groups we get into because we think we have a kindred connection. We can't be common sense logical people who think for ourselves because people are so afraid of being alone that they would rather hang around with some stupid group than face life as it really is. Kurt Vonnegut, in his novel Slaughterhouse-Five and other writings, coined a term called Grand Falloon, which has its own Wikipedia page. It is about any group of people who think they share a common bond, identity, or purpose, which is ultimately meaningless because a true connection with other human beings is an intimate emotional affair based on developing loving connections through experience over time. I used to be patriotic, I was a sports fan and felt emotionally connected to the colleges I went to, but these are all superficial brainwashed groups of people thinking they got some special common intimate connection which they don't. The Jews and the Muslims are similar people, holding on to old primitive ideas that make each of them think they're special chosen people by God. They can't get over this stupidity to live as modern free-thinking individuals. They're so brainwashed by their stupid ideas that they think they belong to some exclusive tight society of chosen people, but it's a grand falloon. There's nothing intimate there, just some stupid myths from long ago. That's how stupid the human race is and how desperate we are for a tribal connection. Many of us can't just make some money, buy some food and have some fun. It's always about the illusion of our fake groups of special people who we think we're kinfolk with. I can flip between Fox News, CNN, and MSNBC anytime and watch how they all twist the news to their points of view. There are lots of buffoons out there who identify with either the fake left-wing liberals or the fake right-wing conservatives. If you go on YouTube, you will find channels dedicated to left-wing liberals like Mia's Touch Network and the Young Turks vs. Mark Dice and the Black Conservative Perspective. In truth, both of these groups will use you as a useful idiot, then when they're done with you, they will throw you under the bus. Like George Carlin, the comedian used to say when he talked about the elitists who ruled the world, "It's a big club and you ain't in it." Elitists run most things. Ed Bernays wrote the book Propaganda in 1928, where he talked about how he got women to smoke cigarettes by presenting it as the cool, advanced, liberated thing to do. Propaganda runs the mainstream world right now. A number of elitists on each side fund the Arab-Jewish divide, but at heart, the average person doesn't care about that stuff. They care about making money, paying bills, having a family and a few friends and having fun. All this political religious diatribe is a bunch of crap a few people at the top constantly foment to serve their interests. They're like the mafia in New York City before Rudy Giuliani and the FBI came in. 99% of New Yorkers were normal people, but the 1% of mafia members controlled most of the money and power. Most Jews and Muslims are temperate, tolerant people who get along with people from other groups, but the leaders want divisiveness because it gives them power and control. There is a Jewish mafia and an Arab mafia that get money and power by controlling people through their religions and cultures. They're extreme psychopaths. They got no problem with people dying or getting destroyed as long as they're on their pedestals. Instead of all human beings living together in harmony because we're all human beings alike in basic ways, we form groups thinking we're better than each other. What would God, the Creator, do if He was here? He would say, "Love me as God, your Creator. Love your fellow man," which means to help each other.